Right on time.
That means it's time for the Jimmy Doane Show. Which it is. So that's us.
Sunday.
This is the show. You're on. Hey, Carrie. Hope you guys are doing well out there in Facebook land. We do this twice a week these days, 4 o'clock Wednesdays and Sundays. Join us also. I'll have a timestamp copy of this posted up on YouTube shortly after the show, up at the Jimmy Doane, D-O-A-N-E YouTube channel. You can find us on audio format, lots of places all over the web. Luminary, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, the list goes on. Apple Podcasts. Anyway, join us, share with your friends. Today is the 18th day of August 2019. I'm here with Jimmy Doane. What is happening?
What is happening?
Let's see. There you are.
All right, there I am. Yeah, we'll have to get a new background one of these days for me.
Well, okay.
The blue, we'll just have to
getting tired of that.
I'll have to move someplace.
That's right. Yeah,
that's what I meant.
That's what I meant. The transporter has been a little busted,
kind of
for
frozen.
A while.
A couple of little notes first before we get started.
Okay.
One is sadly Peter Fonda died.
Okay.
And he's like the younger brother to what's her name?
Yeah, Jamie.
Fonda.
Yeah, Jane.
Jane, right. And and that's of lung cancer, interestingly enough. As a person who's had Jimmy has also had his lungs replaced early. I don't know why he couldn't have afforded, but it must have been another reason. Also, Bitcoin is above 10 grand again, and moving along. And so, just in case you didn't get in yet, when it was lower, too bad. Okay, we can talk a little bit about Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay.
Once again. Okay, well, there's a couple things. It's been officially ruled a suicide. Now, this is not by any stretch of the imagination to dispel any of the rumors of conspiracy.
Right. No, they can't. I mean, like we said before, if it was the murder of the type that we would suspect, they would make it look like suicide. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's a bed sheet, which of course I don't care who you are.
That happens all the time in prison, actually.
I suppose it does. But when you think about the way it has to be done, I mean, there's been all this long explanations about how you have to snap the bones. And what kind of force that it takes, and there's one thing about asphyxiation, which is one thing, and then there's the sudden drop.
Well, there's no drop. The way they do it is they're not hanging themselves from the ceiling.
No, I know it's from the upper bunk,
or a doorknob usually.
Whatever.
And so you put yourself in like a chair, and you just kind of slump over or whatever with the thing, and it just gives you the choke maneuver from
but it's an asphyxiation.
Yeah,
but no broken bones.
Well, it's not asphyxiation really. Well, it can be broken bones.
Okay.
But I mean, it all depends on. I mean, you got little bones in your neck. I mean, that could happen. I'm not.
Yeah. Well, I went through the neck anatomy just for laughs, and there's a little wishbone thingy.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that.
But I thought that nobody talked about one of the great movies that I ever saw. I think it's called The Last Drop, and it was The Last Executioner, something like that. This was the last guy who hung people in England, and he had it all scientific. I mean, he made sure, and he had tied the knot, and it was exactly the right spot, and it was a whole movie about this.
Right.
And he had it down absolutely to a science, and so he made sure that there was instantaneous.
The necks broke when they. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was really good at it. So I thought that was kind of interesting that he had the weight. The thing, everything in the world, and how it was tied and everything. He made sure that
Great.
It was a great little movie. Yeah,
well, to me, the most interesting thing about that story this week was the fact that they found the madam finally. She was at an In-N-Out, and she was reading a book about how the CIA kills people in prison.
Really?
Yes.
And she was at an In-N-Out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's got to eat food, whatever. You expected to find her somewhere, but the interesting part is that
an In-N-Out, like that's in her car, right?
Well, I mean, they have
tables. Okay.
Yeah. It's like a McDonald's.
Yeah.
Only worse.
Ha. Well, you say that in here.
I do say that.
In this, okay. Well,
yeah, right now my California friends are like,
that's right, yeah.
They all worship it out there. It's junk. It's garbage. Go to Johnny Burger.
Oh, Johnny Burger. Okay.
Johnny Burger's even worse, actually. Oh no, it's not Johnny. What's the other one? There's another one.
Is the original McDonald's still open?
What do you mean? Yeah, they're everywhere.
No. But the one, the McDonald's brothers, didn't they get to keep their place?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Okay, whatever.
But anyway, she's reading the book. Interesting. So she might be worried.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, right. She in hiding, reading a book. That tells you something. Well, it is interesting, of course, that the two guards were assigned to what do they call it? Administrative. They have desk jobs, and of course, what's interesting is that they were already understaffed, and now they took away two guards. And the warden, of course, has been reassigned to some other place we don't know where, Limbo,
Well, it's
Alaska.
like you said, until one of those people disappears.
Yeah,
I'm not too worried about it.
well, I said the Manhattan Federal Detention Center, the portrait of the MCC, whatever they call it, as chronically understaffed facility that possibly made a series of missteps in the handling of its high profile. Possibly, maybe they made a thing. So he was, as I say, left alone without a cellmate, and so forth. According to the rules, 2 jail guards are required to make separate checks on all prisoners every 30 minutes. And of course, obviously, they didn't do it.
Right. Well, I talked about this before. Jails, prisons, not the most highly efficiently run places, businesses in the
Well,
country.
speaking of that, I found something that I did not know that they could do this. A Russian spy plane is spotted over the Midwest. It was like over Chicago on a surveillance mission, and it went all the way and flew over to Chicago. A Russian spy plane.
Yeah. Well.
Wait, just listen here for a second. It left Reykjavik or whatever. This is like the U-2 or something, the equivalent of. A Russian Air Force jet has been spotted flying in the skies of the U.S. What appears to be a surveillance mission of key strategic defense assets of the nation. And I'm thinking, this is, they give
Shoot it down!
Yeah, well, no, but they apparently, I did not know this, but according to the radar data, it shows they left the Russian Federation on August 11th, stopped over in Reykjavik, I guess, for a refueling, the same day before passing through someplace or another, and then before Vacaville, Northern California, and then it went over to Hawaii and so forth. But it also crossed over, like Chicago is on their radar and everything. But I did not realize this, but it's permitted for us. You think about Gary Powers got shot down in a U-2 for this past. Now, hey, come on over, take a look. And apparently we're supposed to both be able to do it.
Right, and to finish your sentence, that's exactly right. We passed a law, I think it was after Gary Powers' situation, or established a treaty whereby we said, look, everybody can fly over everybody else. That way you can see if there's a big troop buildup or a new missile battery or something like that. At least allegedly, it provides some clarity. This is sort of the we all spy on each other situation. That's why I was so shocked that everybody was so shocked about the whole Russian meddling in our election thing. I mean, it's all part of it. That's all part of the whole.
I did not know.
We sort of allow our their KGB, our CIA to mess around in one of the countries so that there's no surprises.
Well,
it's a surprise that
it was a surprise to me.
Okay.
I didn't realize that there were the Russian spy planes were absolutely. Hey, we're coming over. We're coming over. Vladimir, whatever. We are coming over. Yeah. So I did not know that, and I didn't realize that you can just fire up your Cessna 172 and go fly over Russia.
Well, not quite.
Not quite, but they're supposed to be unarmed.
Official, right? Yeah.
And so you.
And they're probably pre-cleared routes and stuff like that.
I'm sure, but still, it's interesting that when you know today that the satellites we've got.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, come on.
You can take. I think it was in the movie, The Peacemaker and stuff like that, where they're supposed to be able to read the license plate.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you can or not. But it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Apparently, now that was a couple of years ago. I wouldn't doubt for 2 seconds that you can do it today. The fact is, the satellites, low Earth satellites that go around, probably have 5-inch resolution or something like that.
I would imagine, and also infrared spectrum and everything.
Right, everything. That's right. Yeah. We can see underneath. We can see. And that's the thing. When you think about the satellites going over. And everybody's worried about the atomic bomb business over in Iran, for instance, and it's because it's buried underground. Mm-hmm. But I think they've got stuff now that does the radar can go.
Well, they can certainly see if the ground has been disturbed.
Right.
things like that.
Well, they can get a topography, I think. They can get an idea of what's under there. Maybe not to 400 feet down or anything,
Yeah.
but I think they can certainly get an idea that something's there. I guess. Okay, whatever. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting that we have this treaty, and I did not know about it. Not that I care. I think this is a good idea. You know, and that, as you say, it does clear the. You know, I'm surprised that some people hasn't screamed that this is part of the Russian conspiracy.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. Yeah, that's right. See, this is Trump allowing Russia to patrol over our skies. And even though it's been going on for several presidents, this is Trump's fault, I'm sure.
Oh my God, yeah, it's always Trump's fault. Okay, speaking of airplanes, Russian airplanes, Rashida Tlaib, or whatever her name is, turns down an Israeli permission to visit her elderly grandmother because she will not be silenced.
Yes.
Now, so you know what happened was she wanted to go over there, and they said, no, cannot come here.
Right.
You don't like us. You know, you're a Palestinian.
They support BDS, Boycott, Divest, Sanctions, which is a movement against Israel.
Right. And she supports that.
Yeah.
And so they said, you know, if you're going to come in here and chatter about something against our country, you're not allowed. Well, the big hoorah and everything like that. And they said, oh, wait a minute. Yes, you can come.
Well, she made a humanitarian plea to the government, which you're allowed
and
to
they
do
said,
as a
fine,
Palestinian. Right.
humanitarian, and as long as you stay on the humanitarian part and don't start proselytizing about the BDS or whatever it is, then you're welcome. Well, she says, not good enough, because I'm going to go there and talk about the BDS, and I'm being silenced. Well, but this is not humanitarian anymore.
She said, I'm being silenced.
Right.
Which doesn't make sense.
No.
So, no, I'm with you. Look, I've been trying to give Tlaib and Omar and those guys the benefit of the doubt because obviously a lot of people we listen to just lambast them on a regular basis.
Right.
And I try not to get, diverted or clouded by that or anything. But at this point, at least this is Tlaib revealing herself pretty clearly here.
Yeah.
If she's not going to go to visit her grandmother, this is a horrible announcement by her on two levels, at least. One is, it appears that she doesn't really love her grandmother very much.
Yeah, I guess not.
And then the second thing is it appears that she dislikes Israel more than she loves her grandmother, whatever level that is.
You got to ask your priorities. Okay?
Right, exactly.
What's your priority? I'm going to get rid of this thing here. I can do that in the Congress. I can do it everywhere.
Right.
But I want to go visit Granny.
Right.
But no.
If Granny isn't your priority, then your priorities are messed up.
Right. Well, and she's made it clear.
Yeah.
She said what she said was, she says after Israel granted her entry to the country, she said no, arguing it would stand against everything I believe in. Mm-hmm. So that's, that is obviously her most highest priority is the Palestinians.
And I'll tell you another thing I saw, a little tell from her during this little fiasco, and that was she came out and said that Israel had previously blocked a representative from the United States in the past.
Oh, really?
Yes, decades ago. And she said, shockingly, it was from her same district.
Okay.
Now, I got to ask you, what's shocking about that?
Not me.
Nothing. There's nothing shocking about that.
Well,
it's coincidental is what it is.
I see.
And my point is that she's trying to project shock.
Okay.
She's trying to say, this is all shocking, this is incredible, oh my God. But that's not even true because it's clearly not even shocking. It's totally, unless they have something against her particular district or Michigan or something, then it's literally entirely coincidental and not at all shocking. So the fact that she would say shockingly, just sort of,
it's just another layer, yeah.
Right. It just they're screaming outrage all the time. And another thing I can't understand is that they blame this on President Trump,
right,
and not Putin.
Right.
You got to figure. I mean, if Putin controls Trump,
That's right. Yeah, that's right. He's a puppet.
Right. So this wasn't Trump's fault. It was Putin's fault, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what? So if it wasn't Netanyahu, it wasn't Trump, it was Putin, right? Or no? It was.
Well, it is interesting because certainly Trump is not part of the Knesset.
Right.
Over there.
He doesn't have any power to tell them who to let into their country and not.
No, they can do whatever
Come
they
on.
want. So anyway,
they blew it.
When I won, she says, her job was, when I won, I gave the Palestinian people hope that somebody will speak the truth about the inhumane conditions. Well, of course, she represents her district.
Right.
I'm not sure that she represents a subset of Israel. I mean, she says she does,
Yeah.
but she wasn't elected by them. She was elected over here.
Well,
and
it's all about the diversity.
I guess. I don't know. It's,
She's in there. I'm with you. It's suspiciously. She sounds more and more to be an anti-Semite. I mean, look, and I'm pro-Palestine in some ways. I mean, from my perspective, I think they should have
people. I'm pro-people.
Right. Well, exactly.
So,
but I think they should have their own independent state. I just don't think that it should be in Jerusalem. I think it should be in the West Bank. But whatever.
Well, this brings up another thing that I was going to talk about, and that is, of all of the guys listening, I've been listening to Christopher Hitchens recently. He's got a whole bunch of stuff. You know, he wrote God is Not Great. He's an atheist. He's an atheist, and he wrote this book called God is Not Great.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
And it was a great book, as far as I'm concerned.
The Gaza Strip, I meant to say. Go ahead.
But the deal was this. He said, when you think about all the people that have their own gods and they fight about it. I mean, it's my God is better than your God, and I'm going to go fight, and we're going to kill a whole bunch of people.
Well, but I think that's layer number 2.
Okay.
I think layer number 1 is the economic reality.
It's all economics.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, ultimately it is.
And if those people had their own state that they controlled with their own little economy that they could participate in and have expectations about the future and their families and that kind of stuff, then a lot of that God stuff would sort of tamp down a bit.
It has. In history tells, I don't want to get. We're going off the deep end.
Well, it's easy.
We're getting in the weeds here because a lot of those places over there were very secular for years. You know, in early times,
right.
2,000 years ago.
You want to see a population become religious, damage their economy severely, and watch.
Okay.
Because they will turn very quickly to, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have to do something against the evil that is attacking us. It's not.
She's decided to fight against racism, oppression, and injustice in over there.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, you're getting paid. We're paying you $175,000 a year to take care of your district and
Michigan. Well, and Michigan is doing so well.
Right. Well, they, according to Trump, yeah, they're coming back. Who knows what? Okay. Next item. Let's see. I was going to. I'm not going to get off into Christopher Hitchens again, but maybe another time. Greenland responds to Trump. What do you think about this? We're not for sale. Now, one of the things you have to understand is that Greenland is huge.
Yes.
I mean, it's big. How big is it?
3 times the size of Texas.
3 times the size of Texas. And it's got 55,000 people or something?
Yes.
55,000 inhabitants, 3 times the size of Texas, okay? And they're all like right there.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is all glacier.
Right.
The whole place is glacier. And I did not know this, but they said, of course, he said, it turns out up in Thule, we have this huge base up there above the Arctic Circle. I mean, we have more population than the Greenland people. Yeah, I mean, when you figure out how...
Well, it's 88% Inuit. The 55,000 people. Yeah, it's only 12% Danes.
Did not know that. So anyway, 12%.
Yeah, there's 8,000 Danes or something. I mean, it's
Well, what's interesting is maybe we ought to start an apartheid thing up there. I mean, what are they? Wait a minute now. Well, this is like when you had in South Africa when you had the minority ruling the majority, and now.
Well, they probably don't have a lot of interaction.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But still, I'm just talking about the fact is that the 45,000 Inuits don't have much to say apparently about what goes on.
Well, see, this is what I'm all in on this.
All in. Okay.
All in on buy Greenland, and I say.
Well, we tried to buy it once before.
Well, I know.
Okay.
At least once. But the thing is this time I say you just do it. Just do it. Look, 55,000 people, right? You go offer them $100,000 a piece, or a few whales, or whatever the equivalent is, right? And you say, look, I heard this article said, and I saw the press immediately said, well, Greenland says no. Well, who? In Greenland. Greenland didn't say no.
No.
Some person in Greenland said no.
That's right.
And that person may be willing to be paid.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
55,000 people, you give them all 100 grand. That's a measly $5 billion. You know, Trump could write that check himself.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and then okay. So now the one little problem is you've got Greenland has about a $2 billion gross domestic product in fish and crustaceans. You know, they make fillet of fish and stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So technically, you'd think it'd probably be worth a couple of $100 billion as a business, right? 100 times that amount. I mean, is that, you know, basically?
No, generally it's no. It's more like 20 times.
I was trying somewhere between, and I was thinking rents. You know, for rents you can get.
Yes, no, it's 5% yield is what you want.
Okay, so 20 times. All right, so we're talking about a very small amount of money here relative. You know, he could probably get the whole place for $100 billion or something.
Well, certainly, as I say, I don't even think it would take that.
Maybe not,
because we think about it. Remember now that when you talk about their GNP, that's not us. That's not the, or no, that's to the people there. They're going to still get their money. In other words, they're still going to be able to sell their fish and everything.
Right.
Where nobody's going to take that away from them.
Right.
You know, so why would we have to pay for that? It's not a yield to us.
Okay.
They're still going to get to catch
Well, we would
the
get
fish.
the taxes off.
Well, okay, so that's a little
percentage, right? Exactly.
But it's nothing. It's a nothing burden.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, so and
yeah. So you're right. And then look, Denmark's entire freaking GDP is only 300 billion.
okay.
So you know, 100 billion. That's a huge chunk.
But of course, the question is, like you say, who gets paid?
Right.
You know,
The people who are standing in the way.
yeah, well, that's true.
You go to them.
And, well, of course, well now, though, however, there's a lot of ways to handle this. Number one, first of all, one of the reasons they talk about it being strategic, when you think about it, it's up in the Arctic. I
Right.
mean, there's like minerals and oil and all.
Right.
On the come, you have to invest a lot of money.
Right.
You know, before you get
But
into
that's
that.
perfect for us.
That's perfect for us. That's right. Well, the other little minor problem is you do understand that there's other people up there in the Arctic that wouldn't mind buying Greenland too. Apparently, China's sitting there thinking, well, maybe we ought. No, it could happen. So anyway, but the deal is what you might do is to, as we did with Panama, they bought off Colombia and then set up Panama,
Right.
and then they seceded, and then we built the Panama Canal. So what you do is you buy off you have a plebiscite or whatever you have for whoever votes, and we decide to secede from Denmark.
Right.
And so now we're going to take our 100,000, or I'm sorry, 10 million, 20 million bucks each. Thank you so much. And and of course, what are you going to? Are you worried about Denmark's navy?
No.
Their air force, the Danish Marines,
Right.
To hold on, like a civil war or something,
Right.
Yeah, no.
I'm with you. I'm telling you, Trump, make this happen. This is a hedge. This is a great thing for three different reasons, right? If the global warming thing is real,
Yeah,
okay, then we're going to need land.
absolutely.
And this is plenty of land. And if those glaciers melt, which granted it would take more kinetic energy than. Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, when you think about it for a second, the glaciers, as you well know, are kilometers thick.
Yeah.
As they melt, the
Fresh
land
water.
rises.
Well, and we get fresh water.
And you get fresh water.
Yes.
It just doesn't get any better.
And I'm serious.
Let me tell you, if you want...
And we get some added diversity for the people who want that.
Absolutely.
We get a bunch of Inuits and some Danes.
I mean, and we're talking serious tourist attraction.
Totally.
I mean, the Inuits, they're up there weaving their whatever they.
We put them in a glass cage and people can look at.
I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
No. You don't want to do that. You'd want to let them roam free.
Okay. Free range Inuits.
Free reign Inuits. That's exactly right. So, but the point is, you could have. It would be a perfect. When you think about it, we bought Alaska, which is not connected to the States. We own Hawaii, which is not connected to the States.
Right.
What's wrong with Greenland, which is 3 times the size of Texas, not connected? And I mean, of course, it is connected. But my point is that if you want a land rush or whatever you're talking about, it could be fabulous.
I'm with you. I think it's a great idea.
And Trump is a land guy.
Exactly.
I mean, we're talking real estate here.
Right.
We are talking serious real estate.
That's it.
How would you like to own 3 times the size of Texas with all the stuff that's there
And
for almost nothing?
Rename it Trumpanopolis
Exactly.
or whatever he wants.
Exactly. That's right. Trumpland. That's right. Oh my God. They should just. I mean, and you could buy those guys. You get to the point Now, it does turn out that there might be some people that would stand on principle and not worried about, no big deal. You only have to get most of them.
If there's a problem with the government, we'll install a new government.
We do this.
Come on.
We do this. We've done this before. We have no problem with this. That's what the CIA is for.
Seriously.
That's why we have a CIA. We send in there. That's exactly right. Well, the thing about it is I'm reminded of the one lady who held out, I think it might have been a Trump Tower, a casino or something, and he wanted to buy up like 4 or 5 city blocks, and this one lady wouldn't sell out,
right? So
they built around her, and they had at one point offered her like $5 million or whatever it was, and so now she comes out, it's completely shaded shut. I mean, what a maroon. She could have bought 1,000 acres in Montana or whatever. And
well, I mean, that's a
on principle.
Well, and not only that, but then there's a question of what's the last moment that you hold out until. She held out too long. There's a great picture of a house in China like that.
Oh yeah.
And it's on top of a spire of remaining land, which has been carved away from like 100 feet on all sides.
Yeah.
So they're trying to make they've created this big thing. And there's this house. I'm surprised in China they just
Well, yeah.
Educated
re-education.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, speaking of which, maybe we'll have some news by Wednesday, but on Hong Kong, I'm not going to talk about it today.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. So I just think that the Greenland thing is
home run ball.
Home run.
Definitely
cannot
go for
lose.
it.
I mean, this is
no losers.
He would be the new Jefferson.
Exactly.
Who bought the Louisiana Purchase.
Exactly. Just make it happen. Make it happen, Trump.
That's right. That's what we're saying.
That's it.
Now in
It's
UK, speaking of Greenland, notice my beautiful segue.
Oh yeah.
The UK police draw the line. They ban ice cream and ban cheese in car ads. They ban, cream cheese. Cream cheese, Philadelphia cream cheese has an ad, and car ads. Volkswagen has an ad. They banned the ads for having stereotypes.
Perpetuating stereotypes.
I didn't realize. The Ministry of Social Justice has banned ads. They're the ad regulator.
Right out of Monty Python.
No, right out of Orwell.
There you go.
I mean, the Minister of Social Justice, ad regulator, has stricken 2 advertisements from the approved list for following long-standing gender stereotypes. Now, wait a minute. On Wednesday, the Advertising Standards Authority, the ASA, announced that they drew the line over ads by Volkswagen and Philadelphia cream cheese for perpetuating offensive stereotypes. In Volkswagen's case, and I've seen the ad featured a men participating in adventurous activities while women sat on the beach next to a baby buggy. Okay, so they're out there doing manly things. We're doing manly things, and here's the baby, and we're on the beach and everything like that.
That's horrifying.
Stereotype. Okay,
horrifying.
So images of men in extraordinary environments carrying out adventurous activities versus women who appeared passive were stereotypical and not nice. Philadelphia cream cheese, on the other hand, featured 2 men easily distracted by the Philadelphia cream cheese snack, while forgetting about their babies, and implied that fathers had failed to look after the children properly because of their gender.
I'm offended.
Thank
God I'm protected from that ad.
What's interesting in this article, in the last. One of the things I've always said in the past is when you read this big long article, check the last sentence to see what happened. Now, I don't know when they say they stricken the ad, but they said, while ASA cannot fine Volkswagen or Philadelphia cream cheese people, the advertisements won't be able to taint the impressionable UK minds anymore. So if they can't fine them, why don't they just keep running the ad? I mean, I don't know what they...
Well, they can probably shut down it being played, but they can't fine them. They can do an injunctive relief, but not...
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Monetary.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting, that the penalty is we're not going to fine...
Perpetuating stereotypes. What's crazy, they're so off the cliff in terms of their First Amendment regulations over there.
But they don't have one. There's no That's the whole thing, right?
Exactly. But they desperately need one. Well, we'll see how far it goes.
Yeah. Okay, moving along to Austria. We're going to move away from England, go to Austria.
Okay.
Muslim taxi drivers refuse to transport guide dogs for the blind. So you call up a taxi and you want to go to the airport or something, and if you've got a guide dog, you're blind, they say no, can do in Muslim. And according to the whatever Zeitung newspaper, 80% of the drivers in Austria are immigrants. 80% of them. So I'm going to imagine a good chunk of them are Muslims. So we see this all the time when you get attacked. Not so much here in Gainesville, but you go to Washington D.C. They're all immigrants. I mean, all of them.
Yeah.
And so 80% of them. And so goodly. So you want a cab? I guess you have to get an Uber if they have them over there. If you want to go to the airport. If you're blind.
Like I said, even the Uber drivers, if they're Muslim.
Oh, that's right. If they're Muslim, right,
Yeah.
won't do it. And because they regard dogs as impure, they tried this person tried to order a taxi to transport her and her Jack Russell. Now that's a small beagle to the airport. And it turns out there's a law that says they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to turn anybody down. If you have a taxi, part of the deal is, and of course, as they say, they just don't pick them up. That's the same thing here for years and years. I mean, and still to some extent, you'll find people that they look at the guy on the sidewalk that's trying to hail a car. Nah, I'm not picking him up.
Yeah. Well, look, from my perspective, Waymo. This is all going to be solved very, very soon with the self-driving cars.
Boy, it's funny you should say that because I did not realize this, but and I'm going to digress here off my list. Speaking of Waymo, there is a subset in Phoenix now, a smallish subset up there, that they got like 600 Waymo cars out there.
Oh, that many, really?
It's a ton.
I knew they had started it. We reported it.
They had a ton, and it was a video. It was on YouTube or something, or a story about the Waymo. And it's fascinating to see they still have the driver in it. But the fact is that this person's just sitting there. They showed him sitting there. But the fact is that it's apparently the mayor of this whole place. It's like 2 counties that it's in down there north of Phoenix.
Okay.
Or 2 larger city areas. And they showed where the Waymo cars are all stored and everything. They clean them up. So it's still, they're figuring on making money here pretty soon. Oh yeah, they have to pay already. In other words, if you want a Waymo car today, you pay.
Okay. What do you mean if you want one? You mean like...
Well, I mean, it's a trial, but you still have to pay.
Okay, right.
So they're charging for it. But
Well, I understand that at least one of those companies has gotten permission to not use the drivers anymore.
Could be this. I don't know how old this thing is. And if it's going to be any, it's going to be Waymo because they're the ones that apparently have really. There's another one that was.
That's the Google spinoff.
Right. That's the Google.
And we reported the billions of virtual miles and millions of actual miles that they've traveled at this point.
Well, they were talking about one of the things that they're sort of worried about at this point is that the Waymo people, and this is something else that's a little scary, is the Waymo cars observe the speed limit. Well, this pisses a lot of people off, and they're always trying to get around the Waymo.
Well, the thing is with the better the Waymo cars get, the less we'll need the speed limit.
Well, that's not only that, because they all communicate, and that's what they do. What's interesting is the sheriff thinks it's a great idea.
Well, hell yeah.
The sheriff thinks this is one of the best things, and the mayor is thinking this is great.
Well, what I'm worried about is mayors and the officials in the cities fighting it because of the hack into their revenue.
Right. Well, it could. Well, you say that, but that's when you have a franchise. You franchise the Waymo people, like you do the cable companies. What revenue are you talking about?
I'm talking about the tickets, from the tickets.
Oh, yeah, well, right.
From, now they're not going to collect all these speeding tickets, and I mean, I don't know what percentage of the budget it is, but it's got to be large. And
well, not only that, it depends. Of course, it depends on. Apparently, the sheriff is not worried about this at this point. Which
maybe they get an offset because they get to cut some patrolmen free.
That was the thing. I mean, it's like anything else. I was going to talk about this. I didn't have it here, but parallel to this, they're talking about how much Walmart, for instance, which is the largest employer in the nation, is now cutting back on people because they're using more robots.
Sure.
And everybody's now, a lot of people pissed off about it, but you scan your own shit. Well, they're not losing any business, they're still making a lot of business, and people are dealing with it.
Yeah.
And so the idea that you get a minimum wage job at Walmart is disappearing.
Well, I mean, yeah, a lot of that stuff will be able to be handled automatically.
Right. So anyway, same thing here. As the creative destruction, as what's his name said about this, the economist.
Schumpeter.
Huh?
Schumpeter.
Yeah, Schumpeter. Right. See, I'm losing my mind. But at any rate, as the deputies, I guess, go into private security or something. I don't know what they're going to do, but
Sure, and that would be a great thing for them to do.
it would be. And so, right, exactly, because I wonder if you can tell your Waymo car to wait here. You know, you're sitting there.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. Here, wait here. Pull mask down, run into bank, run back out, and the Waymo car's gone. Wait, no shit, I'm screwed. No, that actually, when you think about it, bank robberies are going to be down because
look, bank robberies, they've got to be at a super minimum anyway. I mean, all the people I defended for bank robberies, it was just crazy people who got caught instantly. In fact, I had one guy go outside, rob a bank, and go outside of the bank and call a cab.
Well, yeah.
Literally, that happened. I defended that guy.
Well, but the point is that today, when you think about it, I was watching one of the Clint Eastwood things the other day, and they said, "What's that car just sitting over there? Why is that? You know, in front of the bank?" And that's right now. If you're going to rob a bank, you set it up, you scope it out, you get 3 or 4 guys, you drive over there, you have your getaway car. But if there's no getaway car, you're not going to be robbing the bank.
Nope. And well, I mean, people will still have individual gas engine, non-connected cars. And
I don't know. At some point, they're probably used to say.
Well, it'll be more and more, and more and more with cameras everywhere.
Well, not only that, it's good when you think about it. All the Waymo cars have got cameras.
Right.
And so, you know, you drive away.
Right.
And
there's the camera of you in your mask with the bag. Well, look, and then also, like, I noticed another.
Look for the car. Not the Waymo car. Look the car in the crowd. As of the 500 cars going in, I think there's one car.
Well, and interesting on that same line, what they do in Japan these days is the police, when there's a getaway car, they shoot the getaway car with paintballs.
Oh, right, I saw that. Yes,
brightly colored paint.
And we talked about this before on the immigration.
That's all you
shoot the guys coming across the border with paintballs. You know who they are.
You pick them up in no time.
That's exactly it. We talked about this. So that's great. Now,
you need to invest in paintball.
The next thing that you'll be interested in. This is what I love about capitalism, and this is what I love about the market system.
Okay, what?
The world's most advanced straw.
Oh God!
No, wait a minute. Americans use 500 million straws every single day, and this company is going to do something about it. Here's how it works: clean, compact, and totally empowering for anyone who wants to rid their lives and the planet of single-use plastic. It goes anywhere you do because it fits on your keychain. The name of the company is called Final Straw. Final Straw self-assembles like magic. Enjoy your bevy with the warm, fuzzy feeling that accompanies waste reduction. The greatest advancement in sucking technology since like forever. Well, I dispute that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go, ew! That's the first thing I'm gonna say. Ew!
But I mean, you're
gonna carry around this thing, you're sticking in your face all day long.
I tell you.
And like that's not gonna get dirty. Notice the first word in their advertisement was clean. You know why? Because that's the biggest concern that everybody has.
Well, apparently you go home after you've gone through all and you unfold it. Whatever it's. I saw it.
Not convenient.
Well, I saw it. It looks. Do you remember the one of the things that the blind sticks that unfold that? And so this is kind of one of those that it doesn't autumn. So you take it home, you wash it out.
It's really hard to imagine like some mold around the edge that doesn't come out of the. Really hard to imagine.
Again, all I'm telling you is here's somebody that's making the final straw. It'll be interesting. I don't know if they're asking for investors or if they listed on the New York Stock Exchange, but you might want to follow this company to see how they do.
That reminds me of that story of that poor woman who fell on her metal straw and killed herself recently.
Jesus.
It's like, look. there's a reason why in Japan they laugh at us using plastic chopsticks over here. Okay?
Yeah.
You know, over here we have these nice ivory chopsticks, these really nice ones you put in the dishwasher. Ha 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 ha. They're like, look, it's something you stick in your face. You throw it away when you're done. It's a little wooden. And then
they
done.
don't give you the wooden ones here.
I know, but people at home, people have them at their homes.
Oh, right. Well,
they'll pass out. Oh, here's some nice chopsticks, and you're like, ugh. I mean, to me, it's like that's the way I think of it. Is look, there are some things that are supposed to be single use, and you throw them away. That's right.
Well, they're wood.
It's syringes and chopsticks and things
Needles.
like that. Yeah, and I mean, to me, and straws is on that list. So we have other ways we can deal with it, and the straws are not, as we've talked about a million times. They're not contributing to the plastic.
It's certainly not from the United States.
No.
I mean, all the plastic that they find, 80-90% of it is from Southeast Asia or something?
Right, and most of it is fishing stuff. First of all,
right.
And then, but even all the stuff that's thrown into the 10 rivers that pollute, the 10 main rivers, like you said, our contribution to plastic in general is like 0.1% or something super small.
And I don't know how it gets into the ocean anyway. Most of the stuff in here is collected and put in a landfill.
Exactly.
Okay, so it doesn't. But a straw, for God's sakes, we're talking about.
I know, and so this guy just swam through the Great Garbage Patch the other day and didn't find one straw. He said.
There you go. This is. But you see the turtle. That's the symbol. It's interesting. Smokey,
like
only you could prevent forests. And of course, that's when people stopped. So they stopped doing the underbrush, and then they because lightning set everything on fire because they hadn't had the normal burn that they're supposed to have. Mm-hmm. And nature does that all that stuff. Okay.
Ugh, God, it's gross.
Yeah, I know.
It's like people carrying their old cocaine spoons or something,
Well, they used to use their fingernails.
Oh, yeah, that's great. It's so sanitary.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, let me skip here. Alibaba co-founder, and his name is Tsai, I think, Tsai, will buy full control of the NBA Nets.
Mm-hmm. Can't take it home.
Right. Can't take it home. Joseph Tsai, co-founder of the Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba, has made a deal to full control of the NBA Brooklyn Nets from Russian businessman who previously controlled it, as the club announced. And they made an agreement with the Taiwanese Canadian businessman to sell the Barclays Center Arena and his 51% controlling interest in the Nets. Tsai bought 49% last year for $1 billion from the Russian, I guess, and the chance to purchase more, which he did. The deal, according to the multiple reports, will cost Tsai $2.35 billion, the highest price ever for a U.S. sports team. And of course, what's interesting about this is it was already owned by foreigners, and now it's owned by the Chinese, who have all our money. And the only place, where can they spend the money? In the United States. That's where they have to spend it. So, as you say, the Nets aren't going anywhere.
Right.
They're still going to play basketball here. There's still going to be ticket sales and everything. But they had to, this guy apparently had to siphon off some of his gains. Mm-hmm. And of course, I, for one, bow to our new Chinese overlords, and we'll do whatever. I'll learn Mandarin or whatever I have to, and then we'll just go from there, I guess. So anyway, but I thought that it was it. In other words, they got so much money, they're willing to pay the highest price ever. I don't care what the price is. They had a thing the other day. It was also a foreign. I think it was it's anonymous, but they're pretty sure it was an Arab. They were bidding on a painting, and the starting was on one. They made a mistake because they said we're going to start the bidding at $30 million, and what they meant was $13 million. And then they went up to the next bid was supposed to be $15 million, and somebody said $50 million. Because it sounds the same.
Oh, right.
And then they had to cancel the whole thing. But the bottom line was that somebody was willing to pay $50 million for this thing, and it was all big. But the point is that you look at this, the way the painting prices go, a lot of them are going over what they expect.
Well, art is one of those places where we have seen the massive show up of the inflation. It's one of the areas. I noticed in the comic books.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, comic book prices have increased a lot and faster than they used to in the last 10 years. Yeah,
no kidding. But and of course this is where people are stuffing their money they're looking at this, I guess, as an investment.
Well, if you're just rolling in it and you've already got everything else taken care of, then art.
But now, I can understand a painting because you get to brag about it on your wall. Okay, that kind of thing.
Well,
but,
right.
But comic books are in a drawer somewhere.
No, you put it on the wall.
Not if you have a huge collection of 1,000 comics.
Well, but yeah, because the one that you're paying the $100,000 for, the Superman #1 or whatever,
yeah.
that's on the wall.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. All right. But it's, so I'm bowing to our Chinese overlords. Okay. The next item is very important. It's called "Stop Eating Sexy Pavement Lichen."
What?
Scientists warn. Botanists are raising the alarm about a common lichen.
Lichen.
A common lichen being used as an alternative to Viagra.
Oh God.
Yes. I can't pronounce the name of it here. It's a type of lichen that grows in New Zealand, and what happened? It grows in New Zealand, and wait a minute, hold it, stop the presses. What happened? I lost it. Don't scare me like this. Excuse me, folks. Pacific naturally produces PDE5 inhibitors, which block an enzyme that constricts blood flow. PDE5 inhibitors are also used in ED drugs like Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra. So anyway, this fungus contains a chemical somewhat analogous to this. This is a lichen. So, I don't know, you go under a lick or whatever. So they said, and I forget
Isn't this stuff cheap enough already?
No, actually, if you I haven't recently, but it's like $20 a pill or something locally.
Okay.
I mean, unless it's from Canada or.
Well, if you're already paying $100 for the girl, oh no.
Yeah, right, for the girl, right. Or your wife. Okay, and some more toxic. This guy, lichenologist Allison Knight, who coined the phrase "sexy pavement lichen" to refer to the species, he told Newsroom, "I always say in my talks that I don't recommend going out and licking the footpath. But that has not stopped multiple e-commerce sites from selling extracts of the sexy pavement lichen as a treatment for ED. Chinese e-commerce Alibaba, nearly 400 different varieties of the lichen powder available." So,
This is coming from China, where they sell 400 kinds of rhino horn too.
Well, not only that, they sell, have you ever seen the videos of going into a Chinese pharmacy, and they've got, they make up the stuff on a little bag from all the stuff on the shelves, all the organic stuff, so whatever. Okay, and this is the last thing I've got.
Okay, I got a few good things.
Okay, good. This is an old story. It's from March, but it just came out for some reason. The Finnish government resigns after the biggest reform collapse.
Yeah.
What happened was, it's interesting because I was down in, this was some time ago, I was down in, I think it was in Costa Rica. No, it was Guatemala. And when I was in Guatemala, the healthcare system collapsed. That is to say, you could go in, because it was all free healthcare, but the pills and everything, the pharmacies. And the pharmacies were run by a Finnish company. And it turned out they went out of business. And so you would go in, if you were in Guatemala, you'd go into your pharmacist and present your free ticket for whatever pill you need. They say, no, we don't got it. So it already collapsed down. This was about 5-6 years ago when I was down there. But anyway, the point is, what happened was their healthcare system became untenable, unsustainable. They have 25% of the people that are over, senior citizens now. And of course, it's a fairly small place. So
5 million total.
Something like that, yeah. And so Finland is sort of Scandinavia in a way. I guess they speak Swedish, but a lot of them also speak, it's part Russian or Slavic or something, but mostly they all speak Swedish. Anyway, the collapse of the government, in a way, is surprising, but understandable. Now the coalition partners can focus on, on really trying to do the healthcare supposedly correctly. Interesting, what they're going to do, they were unable to rally enough support to have the people support some kind of enough people in the legislature to come up with a plan. So they dissolved it. They quit. Bum, we're done. It collapsed. The bottom line is that the healthcare system collapsed, and now they're trying to figure out a way to do it. And what they're going to do is they're going to provide a greater role for the private sector. Shocking. So that was part of the deal. They have. Let me just think here. Effective government's plan reorganization. So anyway, they've got plans, but the basis of the plan is they're going to transfer a lot of it to the private sector, and this so.
Well, that's what Sweden did.
Well, but what's so funny is, would somebody, Bernie, please call the Finnish people and find out what happened to their pay-all health plan and it collapsed. And now they're going to count on the private sector. Bernie, they speak English, so you can just dial up Finland and talk to the head of the health department and find out what happened.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that he's sure that they didn't do it the right way.
Of course.
But it is interesting because, as I just mentioned, Sweden went to at one time had a very public healthcare system. And
Been there.
Now it's paid for by the government, but it's all private.
Right.
So you get a voucher back from the taxes that you get taken from you. So, interesting.
What happens if you don't use the voucher? I wonder.
You eat it, probably. I wonder if you can sell it or something.
Trade it off to somebody.
Yeah, probably not. There's probably restrictions on that, but I don't know. Okay, let's see. Portland.
Yes. Okay.
You saw this, right?
I didn't quite understand it all. Apparently, it was fairly calm.
Well, I was on Twitter and I'm watching, and you can see fights and little skirmishes and stuff, but it's obviously mostly kids.
Okay.
This is obviously more like a mosh pit where there's going to be some consensual roughing up, so to speak, because everybody gets into their sort of pots and pans out of their kitchen, and put the pot on the head, and you run down there. It is like the most ragtag group of.
That's what I saw. It was all ragtag. I mean, and they were people just wandering. Everybody had a camera. I mean, everybody who was down there had.
That's what, and I'm hoping that I saw like every fight that happened, and apparently because they only arrested 13 people or something.
But did you see the police presence?
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Well, I didn't see that. I mean, I saw some guys in the full battle gear. I saw them letting people get attacked, but of course in small groups. And look, at the end of the day, I'm going to say this. As crazy as this kind of stuff is, and I think Portland's totally going off the deep end, going in the wrong direction. You don't let people walk around with masks and clubs.
That was what I saw.
Come on. I mean, just...
They had dark glasses and masks. I mean,
and they've already had problem identifying people who've assaulted people wearing those masks. So this is just a no-brainer in terms of law enforcement. But they don't care, or it seems like they're trying to gin it up in some way.
Well, the media are there.
Well, right, and I mean, I guess he did. In their defense, they had all of the cops out there on the street. Apparently, everybody under the force.
I did see that. They were off to the side. They were all piled onto these RVs or whatever they have for the cops.
I didn't see that. I just saw some of Andy No's reporting and some other local journalists. Like you said, everybody had a camera, so you can see what's going on, which is nice. But you would think that they had a bunch of bird's eye cameras as well, street corner cameras and things like that. One would imagine.
I would imagine if you want to have any real fun, you'd certainly be out there with your drone.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody's got to have drones. Right?
Got to be.
But the one decent takeaway I'll say from this is it's obvious none of these people are very serious, and the reason is because nobody has waded into them with an actual M16 yet.
Okay, right.
Which, if there was really some adults arguing over real issues.
Right. Yeah.
There would be more conflict than
the video
I saw, milkshake tossing or whatever. So, like I said,
what I saw literally was you'd see these what obviously were college kids.
Right.
I mean, the girls were just kind of fat and they were kind of wandering around, and they didn't have any masks on. They were just kind of, maybe they had their little.
And then right next to him is their friend in full camo and with a tambourine for a shield and a pixie stick for a bat or whatever. But I think, to me, the most incredible thing about this entire organization is that none of these kids apparently got the central theme to Star Wars. Like surely they've all watched Star Wars, right? And of course the central theme to Star Wars is hate begets hate.
Right.
I mean, that's the Emperor wants you to use your hate.
That's right.
To fight the other hate.
That's right. That's right.
And they're buying into it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
I mean, their entire goal is to out-hate the other side. And it's like, Have they not seen one mythological representation of the devil in our culture? Ever? I mean, the devil doesn't commit evil. He convinces you.
The screw tape letters.
What's that?
The screw tape letters.
What are those?
That's they're very famous. This was the devil talking to the junior devil,
okay.
and the junior devil was trying to convince people to be sinful and everything like. And the screw tape lead, and they were writing back and forth. I forget who. Somebody tell me these are really. It's a really famous.
Okay.
book.
Again, on and on. You can go. There's Twilight Zone episodes of
Right.
this. Every time you see the devil, he's trying to talk somebody into hating somebody else.
Right.
And yet they have bought it the entire. Where do we sign? Here's all the cash. We're in. We're like it's.
Faust, was another.
That's it. Exactly. I mean, on and on. It's in our music. It's everywhere.
That's
And
right.
they missed it all.
The Rolling Stones.
Seriously.
What is the devil? What's the one?
Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to
Yes,
meet-
my name.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
it's on and on.
Oh my
And
God.
I was there, made sure the Generals Road. It's in Will Smith. Hate in your heart will consume you too. It's everywhere. It's everywhere, and they missed it all. Every single one of them. And not only that, but apparently none of them understand the meaning of the word irony either.
No,
It's
they
just
don't.
like entirely lost on all these people, and I'm hoping that it's just dozens of kids that just got together, and it's just,
Well, you could see from the little video the clip that I saw was they were stacked 5 deep on the sidewalks.
okay.
There were lots of people. There was probably 1,000 people on the sidewalk because they kept announcing over the police were saying, you get on the sidewalks, get out of, don't stop blocking the street. Well, the people were just milling around in the middle of the street anyway. They didn't care but most of the people were sitting there and they're with their cameras filming the people in the. It reminded me a little bit of the. Of running of the bulls. The fact is, you're on the side and you're filming these kids running the bulls and saying whatever.
And they were just gross displays. I mean, this one guy had a little girl in tow, like a 11-year-old girl.
Yeah.
I mean, she looked pretty young, and people are throwing water or liquids onto them. Who knows? And they were literally committing assault and battery on the little girl because they were purposefully trying to frighten her, and it was working. And so, but of course, half of them are in masks, and apparently Portland doesn't have any need for law enforcement.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when they do on Halloween.
Yeah.
It's interesting because around here, I don't know if you know this, but on Halloween, all the signs that go up every place says no masks in here.
Right, yeah.
You cannot go into the 7-Eleven in costume.
We have a general no mask law in Florida. You can't just walk around in a freaking mask, and you certainly can't grab a bunch of clubs and arm up now. And they arrested a whole 13 people.
13, right.
I mean, what? I saw more than 13 in one of the videos that I was doing. And it's just like, Portland, I guess, is given up on any.
Yes, seems like.
Yeah. Well, and then my favorite characterization of the whole thing was, I believe Antifa now stands for Anti First Amendment.
Okay.
So I'm putting that out there.
Okay, good.
I'm promoting that. So all right, let's see. Okay, real quick. Did you see that Greta Thunburg?
Oh, now she's a 16-year-old?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think we talked about this last week. She sailed across the Atlantic to promote...
because she wasn't going to fly.
Right.
Okay.
Because
of carbon.
Right, green travel, okay? So there was a story this week that said that 5 additional people had to fly across the Atlantic to come get their boat after she got back.
Okay.
So her footprint was multiplied by 5. Right. Now, I don't know how that seems possible because to me, if there was a crew that brought it over there, I would think all they have to do is kick her off, get somebody else on, and just sail back. But my point about all this is it's just so interesting that people are touting this as a lecture of how to do things right. She took 12 days to cross the Atlantic, okay?
You're right. Couldn't have been too much of a rush.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. I mean, we have 2,500 flights across the Atlantic every day.
Well, even if she'd taken the QE, whatever it was, that would have been 5 days. And when you figure the carbon footprint per passenger, it's nothing.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Apparently, I don't think she's done any of that math.
She's 16.
I know, but and they're putting her out there as the spokesperson.
Along the same lines. Speaking of this is in the UK, they're all bent out of shape about one of the Prince Andrew, I guess. who flies in his private jet places, and he's a big environmentalist. Big environmentalist, and they're chastising him for flying around for this huge car. Of course, the way I look at it is, what are you going to put him on? I mean, he's not going to be able to go on just a regular flight. I don't think. I mean, he could. I suppose,
well, of course not. I mean,
it's, the president Trump has a big carbon footprint, but I mean, he's not flying coach anywhere.
Yeah, no, it's Air Force One all the way. So
anyway.
That's what you got to do. So
I mean, that's such a small part of the problem.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me.
No, I'm with you. And in fact, I got some new graphs this week from some online people about climate change, talking about the absorption rate of the CO2 in the atmosphere depending on the saturation level.
Okay.
And there's an argument that's being made that we are at a saturation level such that additional carbon into the atmosphere will not have a significant increase on the temperature.
Okay.
Because it's already super saturated, so to speak.
Okay.
So I don't know the exact thing, but maybe I'll post the graph up here in a little bit.
Okay.
Along that same line, the world's largest or longest solar road in France has shut down.
Oh no!
Yeah, too bad. It was a whole half a mile long or something.
Yeah.
But apparently, they had the big to-do. They had all the people out there walking on the road. It was a super cool-looking, high-tech road.
But now I think we might have talked about this before.
Yeah, well, we talked about it when they rolled it out.
Okay.
I don't think we talked about it shutting down.
It was supposed to generate some electricity for houses or something.
Yeah, and it generated like half or a third of what it was supposed to.
Now
you mentioned the leaves.
Right.
The dead leaves, and then it got broken as well, which they didn't expect. They forgot about heavy machinery and stuff like that.
Well, people just walking on it. I mean, I don't care who you are. The civil. Look, here's the deal. What I thought was interesting. If you go to Europe, now I realize this is a lot shorter time, but this is glass and it's new stuff. When you go to Europe and you go in those castles and you go up those concrete steps, they're all caved in.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
From being worn down.
Yeah. So that's what happens. All right, and then my final thing. Okay, and this is. So, we report on the woman who dumped the 7 puppies in the
trash can.
Yeah, she got a year in jail.
Okay.
From that, and to me, just the contrast between that and the fact that we euthanize puppies all over the United States every day is to me shocking. The people can be outraged on the one hand and then totally fine with it on the other hand,
right?
Because it's humane death is incredible. But then that, to me, dovetails into the Endangered Species Act changes that happen, or that Trump is trying to effect.
Okay, which
Shapiro covered this very well, basically said, look, it's not about allowing certain species to go extinct or anything. It's about the use of land in certain areas, which has been restricted because of the Endangered Species Act.
Okay.
And the bottom line is, from my perspective, the Endangered Species Act is like a My Favorite Animal Act.
Right? Yeah.
It's basically like, look, I really like this animal, so I don't want anybody messing with it, and I would like the guys with guns to prevent people from messing with it because I like that animal. And that's it. It's just specific animals. It's crazy. It's like, there's no strategic reason to have this. It's not like we need these owls to watch.
Well, there are some cases. I do know that they were talking about what happened in Yellowstone when they got rid of all the wolves and everything really changed horribly, and they had to reintroduce them to get the environment back.
Right. But still, that doesn't have anything to do. It may give some people a nice feeling about Yellowstone or something like that, but that's all it is. This doesn't have anything to do with the strategic anything with the United States. I mean, to me, it's just such a tiny, minor thing. So, but when you look at it next to the deaths,
the million kitty cats
exactly
that are euthanized.
Yeah. Millions. Millions every year.
So she got a year in jail. That'll teach you.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right.
Is that about it?
Yes, it is. So, all right.
Thank you for joining us, folks. That was a good one. I liked this one.
Well, glad you liked it.
Yeah, it did.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Carrie, Jody, Kelly, Rob, Bubble. Hope you had a little fun. These tracks brought to you by Kevin McLeod. Thanks, Kevin. We appreciate it. We'll be back on Wednesday. Join us if you can. Share if you can. I'm Council Curtis. This This is the Jimmy Dome Show.